If you're anything like me, and if you clicked on this video, chances are you are something like me. You have goals, aspirations, dreams, and a genuine drive to get stuff done, to do things that might seem abnormal to 99% of people, to most people. And I think that's why you clicked on this video, and that was definitely why YouTube put it in your algorithm, because I'm a small creator. I'm not some famous dude who's making $1 million a year off a course. Like, if this video was in your recommended and you are still watching it, you're like me, and I have a piece of advice that you more than likely need to hear. And it's not something that I'm going to preach at you, but it is something that I had to apply. And it's the single biggest thing I'm thankful that got applied to my life to get me to the level that I'm at now. So I won't take up too much time with this, but if you're new to my channel, I am a thinker. I am the thinking archetype. All I do is think about how to improve. And I think I do have a gift with the way I speak and the way I can convey what I feel deep into my soul. So I come on here, I make videos to convey that to you guys. Anyways, the biggest thing that I can explain to you guys and that I can share with you guys that's not something that's off the wall crazy you've never heard before, but I don't think you've ever heard it in this way that I'm about to put it. It's about your environment, and how your environment is the single biggest thing that will dictate the amount of success, the amount of guidance, the amount of all the things that you need in your life to get to your desired dream outcome. Your environment is what will shape the path. You understand? Think about it this way. I'm going to use an analogy for you guys that I thought of and wrote down. Think about a venture through a field, and all you know is that you can see a line of trees. Maybe they're very tall trees. You can see them 10 miles into the distance, and you have to make your way to those trees. Those trees are a visual representation of your goals in life. In the analogy, your environment is the terrain that you must go through. A bad environment is like an overgrown hayfield with bugs and animals and snakes. You can still see those trees. You can still see and feel your dreams. But what you're going through to move closer to get to those dreams is tough. It's hard. You're dealing with insect bites, and maybe the ground hurts to walk on. It's rough. It's bumpy. Now imagine a good environment. People around you who are pushing you, who are clearing the path for you to get there. Imagine that like a strip, mowed through all of the long grass, all of the bullshit, all the excuses in life. A strip, a path that is mowed for you. Short grass, like a lawnmower, just carved a path out for you. When you can walk straight to those trees. Yes, there might still be some bugs you have to get through. Yes, there might be some bumps, but at least your path is clear. And at least you cannot get off the track you're meant to be on, because it's carved out for you. That is how important your environment is. That is how vital your environment is to your success. The only problem that analogy doesn't completely cover, which makes your environment even more important, is that if you're walking through tall grass that's over your head, you obviously know these aren't the best conditions to be in. If you are sucked into an environment that's killing your goals, in an environment that's not pushing you the right way, not clearing out your path, it's very oftentimes hard to even be aware of that. It's hard to even notice that you're in a bad environment in the first place, which is the biggest and most dangerous part of being in one. A lot of people understand, and a lot of people reiterate this point, in fact, that you are the sum of the 5 people you hang around the most. But you need to actually internalize that. You need to live your life more so in that way. Because when you have these people around you that don't have the same goals as you, that have different expectations, that see your goals as unrealistic, that's going to infiltrate your being on the inside. Well, yes, you might still have the thoughts like, I could do this, I could do that. You might still have those high expectations out of yourself. Your being is going to be lowered and almost dragged back by the people around you, because you know just as well as I do. If you start to do better than the people around you, if you start to actually make some change, if you start to, actually get some bread in the bank account or get some, biceps or whatever, secretly after a while, the people around you are going to hate on that if they don't have the same thing, because they need to pull you back to where you're supposed to be in their mind. And I'm going to give you guys a quick story to relate this. Almost use this as a case study to internalize it into your mind. And at the end, I'm going to give you a solution how you can fix this problem that you have. But the story that I'm going to give you is a real world example of what exactly happened to me when I was in high school. High school is a place where you almost craft your beliefs and you craft the rest of your mind. High school and college. And in high school, I started to have these desires, these dreams. And the reason I got these dreams is from like YouTubers, from watching YouTube videos like these. A YouTuber in specific, his name is How To Beast, if you guys have ever heard of him. Go check his channel out after this video if you haven't. But basically, his YouTube was self-improvement. He taught me a lot about life and about how more things were in my control as a man than I understood. The amount of girls I got, the amount of money I made, that was all in my control. And he lived in Austin, Texas. He lived in this big city, and it wasn't just self-improvement, it was self-improvement and vlog, like a mix. So I got to see his lifestyle. I got to see what the hard work brought him. And when you're in high school, you have these counselors and these classmates where you got to go pick, what major you want to do in college, and then you look at jobs, and you scroll on the computer. And I remember one day in particular, I opened my Chromebook along with the rest of the class, and we had to look for careers. We had to look for jobs that we wanted to have, perhaps. And I remember I wanted to be an auto mechanic. I wanted to work on cars. Cars are something that I like. And I thought working on cars would be a good career for me because I could enjoy it and they could make some decent money. And I remember looking at the careers and looking at the jobs that were hiring in my city at the time. And I remember looking at something that I thought was like, in my mind, it would have been hard for me to even get this job. It was the biggest dealer in my city. And I clicked on it, and I was just reading through it for my project I was doing, and at the bottom it said a salary. And starting salary, I just remember being shocked at what it said. It said $55,000-$60,000 annually. So it's $55,000 to $60,000 per year in salary for a job that not only 10 seconds before was something in my mind that was unreachable. That was like a dream. I was just putting on the paper because I thought it could perhaps be cool. In reality, I would have had to start at a smaller dealership and worked my way up and maybe got a job like that if I got lucky. But then when I saw that dollar amount saddened my heart. Not because that, well, it was a lower dollar amount than I could ever imagine, having. I thought $55,000 a year. The Ferrari that I want is $280,000. You mean I got to work 4 to 5 years just to afford this Ferrari? Really? And I knew that most people weren't making that much money, but I never internalized it. So the interesting part of the story is that I wrote it down and it didn't sit right in my mind. Because I thought if I'm going to devote my life to something, and if I'm going to devote all my energy, 40, 50, 60 hours a week, 80 hours a week while I'm in school with apprenticeships and college and this and that and the other, if I'm going to do that, I need more than $60,000 a fucking year. I thought I'd be getting a Ferrari year 2, you understand? Because that's what you deserve. And that's what I deserved, and I internalized that. And I remember the next day, it was economics class, and the next day we were talking about our career paths. And we sat in a table. They split the class into 2. We had these big groups we were working in. And in my group, we got to talking about how much our careers, made and everything. And how much money we thought we would have by the time we were 30. That was a big discussion. And we were all talking, and we were talking about bills, and we were breaking stuff down. It's actually a pretty good conversation for high school, 8 in the fucking morning. Pretty good conversation, I remember. And I remember I said one thing. Now, mind you, this wasn't random classmates. Most of the people sitting at my table were my buddies, just the way we were sitting in the class. And some randoms, but my friends, my actual friends, my environment, people I hung out with outside of school. And we were sitting there, and I was looking at some stocks, because in my mind, this last day I've been scrambling, shit, how can I make more money, this and that, with this career path? And I remember I looked up what a Roth IRA was and some stock market stuff. And I remember doing some math the night before, and I came back to school, we were talking about this, and I told the group, and one of my buddies in particular, I was talking to him, but everybody heard, and I said, doing this math, if I can, do this and that, I just gave a little bit of statistics, I think I'll be a millionaire by age 40. That's what I said. At the time, that was wow, I'll have $1 million by the time I'm 40. And that might sound crazy to some of you, and that sounded crazy to me at the time because of my environment. And I remember my buddy said, "Ha!" And he looked away. He laughed, just like that. And I was I looked at him "How what?" And he goes, "Yeah, right, millionaire by 40. Yeah, fucking right." That's what he said. That's what he said. I promise that's what he said. And I said, "Damn, bro, What do you mean? And I like broke down I just thought he wouldn't understand. And he's like, dude, shit always goes wrong. Shit happens. You're not going to be a millionaire by the time you're age 40. You're an idiot if you think you are. And I kind of like believed him a little bit at first. But my soul deep down knew that he was tweaking. And he's bullshitting. I am going to be a millionaire by the time I'm 40, and I know it. And I knew deep down, and thankfully I did. And that's why your environment is so important. Because in high school with that negative environment, being a millionaire by the time I was 40 was like crazy. It was like, that's like outlandish. Like, you're an idiot if you even think that's possible. And I started to believe some of those things. I really did. And nowadays, in my current environment, all my friends, you know, we run businesses. We make YouTube content. We're always in motion. We're always looking for the next dollar. We're always looking for the next way to improve our lives in general. You understand? Millionaire by age 40, if I'm going to tell you right now, if I don't get $1 million till I'm fucking 40 years old, my life was a fail. You understand? I have everything I need. I have every single thing I need. And my good friends reinforce this belief, and I can reinforce this belief for you guys if your environment's not there. But I have every single thing I need to get to that. I have a Bible where I can read God's word and God's guidance every single day if I wanted to. I have all the books I could possibly ever want on self-improvement, on running businesses. I have time to study. You know what I'm saying? I'm in college, but it's only part-time. I have a job, but I'm actually pulling up to my job right now. I'm looking at it. I work at Olive Garden, if you guys didn't know. I have every single thing I need, and I have a good group of friends who will reinforce that belief. And guess what? If I'm 30 and I don't have $1 million, my friends are going to be calling me a bitch. Because the only way that I'm going to be that age and not have that money is if I'm a bitch. And it's the same thing for you guys. And you guys just need to hear that more often. I hear that shit every day. And that's why I have it. And that's why I'm getting there. You know, I've made more progress this week, in fact, than I ever would have if I didn't have the right environment around me. And that's why I needed to make this video for you guys. And hopefully I could have related it with that story as well. Now, the final piece of advice I'm going to give you before you guys click away, go do something else, hopefully something productive, is how to apply this. Very, very simple. This is why I saved it to the end of the video. It's going to take a minute. You need to have good habits and do good shit to where the people around you are going to be on that positive vibration as well. And then that's step A. Step B is you need to be social in that environment. Very, very, very simple. So if your goal is to gain some muscle, go to the fucking gym, bro. Like, don't go do couch dips and work out at home. Just go to the gym. You go to the gym, you go find a dude who looks cool, or maybe a chick that looks attractive to you or something, and just go talk to him. You understand what I'm saying? It's the same thing. You find a dude who's locked in at the gym every single day. Maybe you guys got some common interests. You don't know. I can't tell you how many times I've made friends by just randomly saying some shit to a dude at the gym, and now he's one of my good buddies. You understand? Be social in environments where people are excelling in the things where you want to achieve to make friends and have a better environment. And if you're having trouble dropping people that are negative, what I just told you will help that happen. I understand if you have like 4 friends from high school and all they do is drink and they play video games and shit like that, that's what they do, it's going to be hard to drop them because, like, you don't want to be alone. That's human nature not to be alone. But if you go to the gym and you got 6 buddies there that you could talk to about working out, you could talk to him about this and that. Maybe he went on a date yesterday, you talk about that. Maybe he bought some healthy food, he could put you on some cheap healthy food, something like that. And then you go back to your other friends and it's like, boom, they're talking about Call of Duty. You're going to be like, what the hell? What are we even doing? What are we talking about? And it's going to be easy for you to say, all right, I'll still be cool with you, but I'm going to, focus my attention on something that's a lot more important. And it's easier to do that when you have the option. With all that being said, I think that's a lesson that everybody could stand to learn. Please go share that with the people around you. Maybe if you got some people that need to hear this, maybe you do got those friends that play video games, but they have the passion. Send them a video like this. Send them other videos like this. And be social. Make sure to keep your environment in check. Keep your good habits good. Get out of the comfortability index that you're living life in. But go do something productive with the rest of your day. It's not too late. So tomorrow could start with some momentum. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day, guys. I really appreciate you checking this video out. Thank you.